In this video, I'll be discussing a set of cold fronts that can possibly bring in some more wintry weather across portions of these, specifically the upper plains here and portions of the Great Lakes here. Even going to possibly bring in some 40s and 30s as far as the southeast here. This will increase the chance possibly for some significant snowstorms here, specifically across portions of the western plains there and as well upper Great Lakes with possibly some more significant snowfall. But without further ado, let's get in the video. So again, our first cold front will be set in place there across portions of the northwestern United States here and portion of the upper Great Lakes here by, again, early this week here, talking Monday and Tuesday here. So we're going to be seeing some pretty cold temperatures across specifically there Montana, Wyoming, and Dakotas there, and even some below average temperatures there as far as south as Texas there and Oklahoma. But that's going to be really 4 or 5 degrees below average. Really won't be too crazy. But we'll be seeing the noticeable cold air will be up there, again, the Great Lakes, and not the Great Lakes there. The Dakotas and portions of Wyoming and Montana getting to possibly 11 to 17 degrees below average. As we continue later into now mid this week here into Wednesday, we're going to be seeing some more significant cold here, possibly 27, nearly 30 degrees below average. Look at that, 29 degrees below average basically. So we're going to be seeing some really cold air against more towards the portions of the upper Midwest there, portions as well of the western plains, and that's going to be bringing some cold air as far as east as a portion of the southeast again, and possibly even 20 degrees below average across portions of the Appalachian Mountains, but really widespread below average temperatures by the end of this week, getting towards Thursday into Friday. Some pretty cold air across portions of the southeast there and as well eastern United States. And that's when that third cold front will be coming into play here by Friday and Saturday. That's going to bring some really cold temperatures across portions of the central United States here, possibly 15 to 20 degrees below average as far south as Texas and as far north as portions of the North Dakota and Canada border. Still going to be seeing some cold air as far east as the southeast and portions of the Ohio Valley, and even may see 20 plus degrees below average across Georgia and Florida. But again, really watching out mainly for the central United States for constant, really cold air. Again, that's where we'll be seeing the most cold fronts in that region here, including the first and second. But getting now by into Monday here of next week here, really cold temperatures still. I mean, this is all by the 19th, and we're still seeing some really cold air. So we're possibly talking at least 10 days of this very cold air, getting by the 18th here. Still another fourth cold front bringing some cold air across the Great Lakes there, 15 to 20 degrees below average. And of course, you guessed it, that'll at least some point make its way towards the portions of the southeast United States and the East Coast boat. So we're looking at least 4 cold fronts that can bring in some cold air across portions of the central United States, southern plains, and eastern United States within the next 10 days. But it looks like that may come to an end as we get some warmer air across central Canada, and that may make its way towards that region by at least the 20s in April. So right now it's April 11th. And April 21st, 10 days, we're still talking some cold air here. But let's go ahead and look at the real-time temperatures as a result of these cold fronts. So, like I said, we're going to be seeing possibly winter temperatures in these areas once again here. That's possibly, again, later on the road, possibly a threat for some snowstorms here. But as we get into Monday here, later tomorrow, we're going to be seeing some pretty cold temperatures, specifically across the Rockies. Again, that's kind of where we'll be seeing that cold front, at least earlier this week here, getting into the teens here and even single digits. But as we get later on here into the mid this week, we're gonna start seeing that cold air specifically now widespread across the Great Lakes and portions of the central United States here, and get possibly some teens and 20s across the Dakotas, Nebraska. Still those single digits there across portions of the Rockies, and even getting really cold air as far as portions of Oklahoma, getting the 40s there. Some below freezing temperatures near Chicago, below freezing temperatures there as far east as Michigan. So it's still going to be pretty widespread cold air. Getting that later in the week here, that's when that cold air will start making its way towards the southeast here. Going to get possibly in the 40s in Dixie Valley here, and possibly some 30s across portions of the southeast there in the Appalachian Mountains. So this is going to be, again, mid-April, the 16th here. So we're going to start seeing some really cold air within these areas here. Still seeing possibly some teens there, specifically across, again, the Rockies, like you guessed, and northern North Dakota there, getting into 11 degrees there, and even may get the single digits up there in North Dakota there. As we get later on here into, let's see here, portions of Sunday here, this weekend here, Sunday going to get some widespread below freezing temperatures. And it's kind of weird to think that we may get into the 40s in Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana, where we just saw severe weather not too long ago and saw 80s and even 100 degrees plus across central Texas, and now we're getting into the 50s and even 40s in those areas. Really weird to think about that, and even going to get into the 30s here, and even nearly below freezing temperatures near Joplin, even as well to the areas into northwestern Arkansas and the Ozarks, but still, really that main cold there will stay towards the central United States and northern United States. Going to see possibly single digits to nearly maybe even negative digits across specifically Wyoming and Colorado, and some widespread 20s across portions of the Dakotas there and portions of the central Midwest. And it'll start to warm up a little bit across the southeast here, but look at these highs, as not even getting past 60s here in some areas in the southeast. That's showing you how cold it can possibly get. And then it'll warm up just a little bit there across the southeast as that fourth cold front will make its way across the Great Lakes here. And that's where we'll be possibly seeing some pretty cold there, specifically across Lake Michigan there, getting to the 30s there. But that's going to possibly leave a threat possibly for some severe weather across these regions. So even with this cold front, we may see an increasing threat for some severe weather, specifically across Dixie Alley, where we won't be seeing affected as much with the cold front. You kind of see a lot of these areas here will kind of be just a little bit ahead of those cold fronts. So you see some pretty warm air just ahead of that cold front. So going to be even watching out possibly a threat for some severe weather. So here to look now at the European the next 10 days here to see when there's going to be some snowstorms because of this cold. And we're talking a little slight snowstorm here as far north as portions again of the oops, I don't want to do that. As far north as portions of the upper Midwest here, possibly some small snow across North Dakota there. And let's go a little bit further into, again, this can kind of be more to let's see, this is going to be kind of more towards Monday here into the evening hours, some small snow. So tomorrow we can get a small snowstorm across portions of northern North Dakota there, portions of Montana, northwestern Minnesota. We can get some slight snow now last as far as to Tuesday there. So since it's cold air is going to be here so long, we're going to be seeing a pretty frequent cold blast of precipitation across these areas. So we're talking really heavy snow for areas like Fargo, really heavy snow for areas like Bismarck, some pretty good snow near Billings, and as well getting some snow near Minneapolis possibly by talking maybe Tuesday evening here. And that snow will kind of diminish by Wednesday morning here. But let's go a little bit now, move my screen a little bit like that. And by Wednesday morning here, as that snowstorm finishes off, we're still going to be seeing another snowstorm here across portions of the Rockies, since we're going to be seeing some pretty significant cold there early this week here. And again, that's going to kind of diminish slightly, but we're going to be seeing kind of some pretty good waves of amount of snow here lasting a few days straight because how cold and how frequent that cold is going to be. But then we have another significant cold front here, or significant cold front and a wave of moisture here moving in these areas, so we're possibly talking another big snowstorm across portions of Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming like we saw not too long ago. This is going to kind of be more later this weekend to Friday. Really heavy snow across western Nebraska, again, southeastern Wyoming, north central Colorado, and portions of the Dakotas here. And that'll last into possibly Friday night into Saturday morning. We can kind of see that snow scatter across these areas. And again, still possibly going to watch out for some severe weather across Dixie Alley in the south central ahead of these cold fronts here, a little bit of instability. So again, even though it's going to be a little bit cold in these areas, we can't rule out the possibility for some severe weather across the south central and as well across portions of Dixie Alley, specifically across Wednesday, watching out for some severe weather ahead of actually before this main cold air actually moves in these areas. But even again, another cold front going to be moving in, this fourth one, which would be happening by the 19th here, and that's going to possibly allow for a snowstorm there across the Great Lakes here. Going to bring some snow there across Michigan, across even Minneapolis, Eau Claire, some significant snowfall across Rochester, and even some pretty good snow here across Madison, Wisconsin, upper Illinois there near Rockford, and some snow there across northeastern Iowa, and some really heavy snow for upper Lake Michigan there. So we're possibly may see some pretty significant snow again. Even if Detroit may get some small snow, but let's go ahead and actually take a look here at the actual snowfall totals here. So we're missing again some pretty good snow within years. Let me actually move in, just zoom in a little bit. So mainly going to be seeing some really good snow, specifically across the far north central portion of the United States here again. That we could possibly see up to snow for at least 24 hours in that area. So looking at possibly a foot of snow across portions of North Dakota there, and specifically across the upper portion of the state there near the border with Canada, getting up to possibly over 9 inches of snow. May get a foot of snow near Fargo. May get up to possibly half foot of snow near portions of Bismarck. And then, of course, we have that last snowstorm we just saw right now, possibly on the 19th and 20th, to bring in some really significant snowfall across portions of the Great Lakes here. Looking at over a foot of snow near the Panhandle there, Michigan, there in the upper portion of Michigan, just near the Marquette area, north of Traverse City. Some really significant snowfall across north central Wisconsin near Green Bay. May get an interso near Madison, Wisconsin. May get a trace there near a portion of southern Michigan. But looking at possibly some really good snowfall. But in general, some really heavy snow as a result of these two main snowstorms. As a result of this really cold air, stretching from North Dakota up into portions of the Midwest. Minneapolis may get half a foot. Some really good snow there near the Twin Cities there, up central Wisconsin. But again, this snowstorm here still is not guaranteed as it's still pretty far out, but looking at some really significant snowfall and some scattered snowfall across the Rockies here, possibly over a foot there near central Wyoming, and as well portions of central Colorado, where we can get possibly into the single digits and negative digits. And again, a chance for some snow there across Nebraska there, half foot specifically there right on the border, but some snow near North Platte. May get some decent snow near Denver, as well as some decent snow near Rapid City, Pierre, and as well as that general region. But I mean, you can kind of see a lot of widespread snow, including the Rockies, the little foothills of the Rockies, and of course portions of the central, as well portions of the Midwest. So we're gonna be watching out for a pretty widespread area of snow here in these areas. But again, usually, typically the spring is the best area for snow for these areas here, and we've already seen some pretty good snow last month here for these areas that kind of brought that severe weather across the central plains and southern plains, and that's exactly why we're going to be watching out, because early in the week is kind of when we're going to start seeing that snow there across portions of the Rockies, but the end of or the beginning of next week, possibly going to be watching out for these areas specifically here. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.